All right, all right, all right. So that was all the Matthew McConaughey I could muster up. But quick show of hands, who here has had that I am Thanos snapping my life or existential crisis at 3 a.m.? I know I have had. Yeah, see, these are my people. The rest of you are either lying or sleeping too much. So here's my theory. My theory is that 3 a.m. isn't even a time anymore. It's more like a cosmic growth session. It's the hour where your brain goes, hey, you're free? Cool. Let's question your entire existence in 480p using Microsoft Paint and Comic Sans. And of course, as the great Ted Mosby once said, nothing good happens after 2 a.m., which is hilarious because I'm always there at 3:17 a.m. deciding my entire future while eating cold pizza and googling, am I failing or just dramatic? You know the feeling, right? That your body wants rest, your brain wants answers, and your fridge just wants to know why are you standing in front of it again, scrolling through your regrets like they're itemized on an Excel sheet. So one night I hit the peak episode myself. I was sitting on my bedroom floor, literally, surrounded by papers, past papers, rough work, notes, everything. It was like my academic career had exploded and landed around me. And in that moment, I remember thinking to myself, maybe I'm not built for this. Maybe everyone else is just built tougher. You know the feeling, right? Like everyone else is built out of titanium and you are built out of expired Play Doh. So, and in that moment, I genuinely believed this is where I break. But what I thought was my breaking point was actually the point where I upgraded. So here's the plot twist I wish someone would have told me before I cried onto my history notes. It is that when you feel that you're emotionally hitting a wall, your brain isn't actually shutting down, it is doing renovation. Several studies have shown that stress doesn't mess you up. Rather, it restructures and reconfigures your brain, especially the hippocampus. Sorry, wrong hippocampus. This hippocampus. This is the part of your brain which controls your memory, identity, and learning. And under repeated pressure, let's say 4 assessments due in 72 hours, your brain becomes more capable of rewiring. It becomes more plastic. It starts forming new connections 10 times faster than your normal, calm Instagram scrolling state. Now let's combine that with something else. At 3 a.m., your distractions are finally quiet. Your friends are asleep, your phone is boring, Instagram has run out of new reels. And in that moment, your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical part of your brain, is half asleep. And your amygdala, which is the emotional alarm system, it is like, stop meeting right now. It is basically like your brain fired the supervisor and hired the intern. So you feel raw, exposed, emotional, and very, very dramatic. But that is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that your filters are finally off. And that version of you, that uncomfortable, overthinking, slightly unhinged version of you, that's the honest you. But if this moment is so powerful, why do we run from it? Why do we open our phones, open YouTube, watch a 47-minute video called 10 Ways to Be Productive at 3:21 a.m. and end up doing none of those? It's not because we are weak. Harvard psychologist Timothy Wilson conducted a study where he put people in alone in the room, with no phones, no distractions, no music, nothing, just with themselves for 6 to 15 minutes. And optionally, they were given a small electric shock that they could give themselves to escape that time alone. Now, most of the people had already tried that shock. And they said that they would avoid being shocked at all costs. They would literally pay money to prevent themselves from being shocked. But guess what happened? Most of the people chose the shock anyways. 67% of men and 25% of women chose actual physical shock or being alone with their thoughts. Come on, men, we are also losing the introspection battle. So the next time it's 3 a.m. and you want to press that metaphorical zap me instead button, congratulations, you are scientifically normal. But why? Why do we not want to be alone with ourselves? It's because introspection is dangerous. It threatens our identity. It forces us to confront the gap between who we are and who we want to be, the dreams we buried because it's too unrealistic, the relationship we know is wrong but we won't leave. The 3 a.m. moment isn't scary because it is dark. It is scary because it is honest. And honesty is heavy when you have been carrying lies about yourselves for years. So now the question isn't how do I avoid the 3 a.m. moment? The question now is what do I do when I get there? There is a 3-step 3 a.m. toolkit the next time that you could use your brain hosts the Shame Olympics. The first step is to label the fear. UCLA researcher Matthew Lieberman conducted a study where he ran brain scans of people looking at emotional images. And when the people labeled their feelings, just put their emotions into words, their activity in the amygdala went down and their prefrontal cortex came back online. In normal people language, it is as if saying, I feel anxious, is turning the emotional volume knob slightly down so that your logical part of your brain can finally speak up. So the next time, instead of lying there in the vague fog of everything is terrible, say or even whisper, I feel scared I am going to fail. I feel like I am falling behind. I feel anxious. I feel fear. It sounds tiny. It sounds small. But a feeling with no name is a monster, and a feeling with a name is a problem. And problems, we can work with those. The second step is to ask the identity question. Most of us ask the worst possible question at 3 a.m., which is, how do I fix this mess? Which is completely wrong. Instead, try asking, who do I have to become to overcome this mess? So when you ask the who part of the question instead of the how, your brain stops obsessing over the catastrophe and starts building a new version, a new character. So the 3 a.m. moment does not become the end of your story, it becomes your origin story. The third and the final step is to extract one line of insight. Every 3 a.m. moment contains a signal. If you run from it, you just feel tired the next day. But if you stay for a minute longer, you could extract something from it. So before you go to sleep, write one line, not a novel, that tonight I realized I'm outgrowing dash. Tonight I realized that I feel dash. Tonight I realized that I need to do dash. That's it. Close the notebook, go to sleep. These one-liners, they are like seeds. One night they mean nothing, but over the weeks they start to form a pattern. And that pattern is a new version of yourself taking shape. So back to that night on the floor. Same room, same exams, same chaos, same cold pizza. Old me would have thought that that's the place where everything ended. But now looking back at it, that was the first time I stopped performing for the world and actually listened to myself. I named the fear, I asked the identity question, I wrote one brutally honest line. And nothing changed overnight, but something shifted. Because 3 a.m. was no longer the place I went to fall apart, it became the place I go to tell myself the truth. So the next time it's 3 a.m., remember, you're not weak for breaking at 3 a.m., you're just finally honest. And that moment, that uncomfortable, overthinking, sleep-deprived, fridge-staring moment, is not where your story collapses. It's where your story upgrades. It's not where you fall apart. It's where you finally hear yourself. And that is exactly where transformation begins. Thank you.